And welcome back to episode 605 of the Unpaid and Underrated podcast. We are a podcast for crew by crew. I'm one of your hosts, Big Keith, joined as always by Big Joey.
As always.
And we have three special guest crew this week for a nice little Crü Falls recap episode. So we got Mr. Big Trond. We got
Hello.
Brad. We got Brad the Pad.
Yo.
And we got Big Kurt. Not Kurt Locker. This is new Kurt.
Yeah.
And this essentially we'll just kind of go through the Crü Falls weekend we all just got back from, talk about it a little bit, what'd you do, how much fun did you have, et cetera, et cetera. But first, as always, I had a blast, but let's get through Nate's favorite part, let's do the round robin. What are you drinking over there, Joey?
Keats, back to my Canadian beer. Thank you. Love you guys in South Dakota, but I missed my Canadian beers, I'll tell you that.
And I'm drinking a nice little Mick Ultra. I wasn't gonna drink tonight, but I burned the shit out of my finger when I was grilling steak tonight. And I was like, okay, well, this will help a little bit, I guess. What about you, Brad? What you got, buddy?
I drank enough beers over the weekend, so it's just water for me, my guys.
Smart man.
I've had so much water today, like I could drown a fish. Like I woke up this morning and I was just like
What about you, Trond? What you got, buddy?
I got the old Guinness Zero, because I as well drank enough Guinness this weekend that I can take a few days off.
That's smart. Kurt, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, I got a polar seltzer water. And again, because of this weekend's activities, that's the way to go tonight.
Oh, yeah. I see. Some of us don't drink all the time. I see how it is. Some of us are in control of our addictions. I get it. Just rubbing that in today. Episode 605, was that for Grayson's big lift there?
Did that what he pulled?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
Good stuff. That at what, 195 or something, or even a little less. That's pretty impressive. So I think he does over 3 times body weight. That's crazy. Good for him.
No chalk, no belt.
No belt, no nothing.
He did it beltless?
Yeah.
Well, I think his torso is so small too that unless he got he'd have to get a 2-inch. No, legitimately, he'd have to get he'd probably have good luck if he had a 2-inch or a 3-inch belt, but a 4-inch belt would probably just get in the way of his freaking pecs and his quads.
You're a 4-inch belt.
He says he never pulls with a belt.
Okay, well, there you go.
Belt's overrated. Warming up's overrated.
Well, we are wearing shirts tonight. So, Kurt, what are you wearing?
I got the new gym tee. This was waiting for me when I got back from Crü Falls. So, as much as it sucked that the weekend was over, at least I had that.
Nice.
You could have just got Tanner to deliver that.
Yeah, we told Big Matt that he should have done that, but for some reason he just decided not to. Big Brad the Pad, what you got?
I am back in the freshly laundered camo Massonomics hoodie that I was wearing over the weekend.
Oh,
nice. It's still warm.
Where's that? Right on the dryer. That's the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say you wash your coats.
Oh yeah, once a season.
It's had the travel stank on it.
That's fair. I'm rocking the old Lift sweatshirt.
Yeah, I had that on the whole weekend. That's a good.
I saw a lot of guys wearing that this whole weekend too. So,
excuse me. Rocking the unpaid and underrated shirt, and I was rocking the new Lift shorts earlier. I just want to touch base on those. They were great. I did downsize to a large instead of an extra large. Great decision. I was afraid to be a little too snug. Freaking perfect. So, literally, I'm 250 plus, and a large is perfect. So they are crazy. Big, good shorts.
Yeah, if you are ordering those shorts, order a size down. I think that's a generally good rule.
Yep.
I got them on right now too, and I'm going to be training them tomorrow morning as well.
Nice, they're good.
Excellent.
I've got 3 pairs of them, and Morgan's just like, "You have enough shorts?" It's like, no, I don't have enough of these. These are the best shorts.
Yeah, that's been it.
I'm still wearing the. I may be a piece of shit, but at least I'm not a social media influencer shirt.
As you made 3 Instagram posts today.
Just the one, but still, it's. I've always wanted this shirt, and it is gym boxy, so it's super comfortable and it'll fit no matter if I have a pump or not. So I'm really happy to, and it was 40 or 45% off with Black Friday. He's got another one I like that says, if you've heard anything bad about me, believe that shit and leave me the fuck alone. And I really like as much as Jordy's controversial, he's really good at misanthropy. He really speaks to me on his t-shirts. The problem with these though is like they scream "Don't talk to me," but then everybody just wants to talk to you about them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
conversation starter.
Yeah.
Speaking of stuff that talk to me, I know I got a chance to listen to Tanner's episode on "Do You Live in Liftboro" today. Uh, it was great. I think they recorded it last week, so there was a lot of stuff, like kind of like preluding to Crü Falls and everything. But it was essentially Massonomic adjacent. It was because I know the two guys that host the podcast, Kyle and Jesus.
Oh yeah, I knows him so well.
Yeah, I spit it out. Yeah.
Kyle and
So I was just like, it was literally just like listening to it was like listening back to one of our episodes or to one of Massonomic's episodes. It was just like, you knew everybody on the episode. You've met him in person, hung out with him, so it was really good. Got a lot of, so some of the Massonomic lore we talked about this weekend was actually something he talked about on the episode, so that was cool to kind of hear. Just all in all, it was a really good episode. I loathe listening to books or podcasts when I'm trying to train, but I really wanted to finish that episode. And I was also like, my back was up against the wall. Like if I don't train now, my wife, I'm going to basically be training into dinner time. So I was like, I got to train now. So I guess I got to just listen to an hour and a half of the episode while I'm training, so I think I ended up taking like the majority of my top sets listening to Tanner and the guys talk. So I found that odd, but I don't know, it didn't throw me off too much. So I guess I know how Jen can do it, but it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to do it every session. But it was a good episode. If you haven't caught it yet, to do so.
And check out our reel because Keith was kind enough to grab a video and send that over to me. And I was like, no, I'm going to post that.
Absolutely.
Of Tanner essentially saying what I was saying all weekend about how cool it is that he gets to, you know what? Like, I'll be really honest with you. And I know, Tanner, you're going to be listening. The way he kind of started was that like it started out as a bit of a joke, a podcast about a podcast, and then it formed into this. No, we interview the people that support Massonomics. So Tanner, from his perspective, like from our perspective, I said it at Los Campeonos. Nobody in this room is a stranger. I've interviewed 98% of the people walking around lifting right now, and I know why he's not lifting. I know why he's not drinking. I know why she's over on that machine and not the other machine, because we spent 2 hours with you in the past couple of months. But from Tanner's perspective, he gets to hear about the people that just give him money, that love his company so much that we signed on to be a part of it. And from his perspective, like I never considered it from the Tanner perspective that must be so cool for him, is that, we get to know each other, but he gets to know us as one of the owners of the company, and that was really cool. So give that reel a like and a share while I try and fix my chair and not fall over and die.
Potential episode title, The Tanner Perspective.
The Tanner Perspective.
I like that. All right. Well, I don't think we prepared anyone for a Massonomic sponsor read, so we might just have to make this whole episode the sponsor read, and sorry for that, boys. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get our guest on the horn, and here they are. We got Big Trond, Big Brad the Pad, and Big Kurt. Hey boys, how we doing?
Doing well.
We're good.
So let's
really good.
I mean, I got a whole little punch list here. We don't really have to go in order or anything. So I mean, just we can kind of go through the whole weekend chronologically. So Brad actually can kick it off with us because he had a little snafu with his travel plans and got to Sioux Falls a day early. So what did you do Thursday, bud?
Thursday, I mostly stressed over my lost bag.
Bag.
All of my clothes, all of my lifting stuff. So that's what I did most of the day. I did wander over to Remedy Brewing in the evening there just to check it out. Had a couple beers and got some takeout dinner. Took that back and I watched the Lions game back in the hotel room and just waited for everybody else to show up. So I didn't do too much.
I'm a little jealous of that. Like you take these trips, and we'll talk more about mine, but like I kind of wish I had the day before and the day after. Like you and I had the day after to just like, no, we're just relaxed. We're just chilled. We're just enjoying our times in Sioux Falls. Thanks to Trond and Daniel and Gary, I guess we're going to call him.
Yeah, Gary. Gary. Might not be Gary, but he's going to be Gary.
Yeah. But
I honestly don't know his name other than Gary. As far as I'm concerned, he's Gary.
He's one of the Brads.
He is one of the Brads.
Yeah.
Yep. I am a little jealous of that. I think that if I had like my choice of travel, I would do what you did without losing my bag, and I would arrive a day early and just be like chilled, because we'll get into my traveling in a minute. But
if it weren't for the lost bag, it was a real nice little Thursday. Let me tell you, it was very pleasant.
And you were able to take advantage of Kruber getting a ride a little bit from the airport that night, or did you go old
Yep.
fashioned?
My guy Grayson came and got me. He patiently waited outside for probably 45 minutes while I tried to figure out where my bag was.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah. That would be.
We were supposed to get some pancheros for lunch, some giant burritos, but we did not have time, so he had to get back to work. Yeah, he was still working, and he took his lunch break to come get me.
That was nice of him not leaving your ass there and being like, I gotta go, buddy.
Well, that's what I told him, like, man, you gotta go. Like, I'll just, I'll get a Lyft or an Uber or whatever. But nope, he stood by and he got me where I need to go.
What about you, Big Kurt? You flew in also, didn't you?
Yeah, so I got to meet Big Joey first and foremost before I even got to Sioux Falls, because of that interesting connecting situation that he had going there. I guess I'll let him tell that a little bit more than me, though. That's it. But I got there on Friday after a pretty good layover in Chicago. But it was an interesting travel day because I had to make a couple changes on the fly. I found out I had to take an Uber to the airport on Friday morning at 4 a.m. Because I had to lend my car out. And then after that, again, I'll let Joey tell the situation with the flight. That's his story to tell. But I had to hold up a flight. And then when I got to Sioux Falls, Matthias and I were going to rent a car just so that we would have another option all throughout the weekend, only to find out that Enterprise didn't hold the reservation for him.
Oh, wow.
So then
That's wild. They didn't have any other rental. Like, I've been to Sioux Falls multiple times. There seems like there's more cars than there are people that want to rent them.
I understand what a reservation means. I don't think you do.
That's wild. I didn't hear that.
Joe had just left with Grayson at that point. So Matthias and I were just kind of stuck there, at the curb. But fortunately, that's when Trond was getting into town.
Good man.
Willing to pick us up. And then Af came as well. So, I mean, we had options for how we were going to get to Tommy's from there. And then it was right into the grip challenge from there. So I definitely didn't have any time to catch my breath. Right into the fire, which was awesome. The only way to do it.
Perfect. Yeah, I had a pretty early wake up call Friday. I want to say I left my house. I got up at like 4:45, 4:30, something like that. At the airport by 5:30, on a plane by 6:30. Chicago. Met Hogan in Chicago. Then we were back. We both, we rode out and we landed in Sioux Falls by like 10:45, 10:30 or something. And I think we had just missed Scance because Scance had posted a video drinking at the bar downstairs at like literally like 17 minutes prior. And I called and texted him when we got there, and he was completely, didn't answer. I think it must be something with the postal service people must have got a hold of his phone and said, no, you can't use this, because he wouldn't answer anything. But Big Paul picked us up, and we had like 2 hours to kill before Pizza Ranch. So Paul gave us a nice little tour of Sioux Falls. We drove through the falls. Just kind of did a couple laps around the area, and we were like, oh, let's go check out the shim that was just featured on the Massonomics YouTube video like the day prior. So it was really surreal to be at Paul's house checking out the same gym that Tanner and Tommy had toured. The video came out the day before, but I think they've actually recorded it like 3 months in advance prior to. So that was just really fun. Then we headed over to the Pizza Ranch, and then that was. That's when we caught up with a lot of other guys. I think Brad was at Pizza Ranch. Trond, yeah, it was just me and Brad were the only ones in this crew that were at Pizza Ranch. So we can touch base on that, you and I, real quick, and then we can get to Joey's travel and Trond's pickup. So Pizza Ranch, not the best, not the worst. It's kind of like CC's. The best part about it, the cactus bread was good, which it was basically just dessert pizza. I don't know what the topping, I don't know what flavor it was. It wasn't like apple, but it was just like, it was whatever, like a plainish, like not extravagant flavor, but it was really good. They had little cookies that were pretty decent, like a little cookie tray thing. But the cheese sticks were good. The pizza was okay. I like the salad bar. I always like a salad bar that's got like potato salad, macaroni salad, and stuff. So you can kind of get a little bit of extra bang for your buck with that. I think some of the boys put a hurting on the cottage cheese. There was an ample amount of cottage cheese consumed, and I did try a couple pieces of the. I think I had one piece of the fried chicken that like every time I've heard Tanner, Tommy, or anyone else ever talk about Pizza Ranch, they always talk about the fried chicken. It was okay, but goddamn, it was greasy. It was so greasy. Like it was dripping with grease. But that was fun. I think there was 3 or 4 there was 20 plus of us at Pizza Ranch, and then we kind of all moseyed over to Tommy's. So I guess Joey or Trond can jump in. I guess however it kind of fits in the story.
I'm going to be pretty long-winded. Yeah,
I was going to say I'll jump in because mine's pretty short. I live here in South Dakota. I'm 2 hours straight west on the interstate. So my trip was just driving over. I swung down to Dimmick, South Dakota to pick up some cheese curds for everybody to sample. Got some Bloody Mary cheese curds to share at Tommy's. And then I came through, and as I was literally driving past the airport, that's when I started seeing Matthias and Kurt asking for a ride. And I said, I can do it. And then Af was already on the way. So by the time I pulled up, Af was pulling in right behind me. And so I figured if he already drove all the way over, I'd let him pick the guys up and take them to their Airbnb, their Crü B&B. And then, then I went and checked in at the hotel and hightailed it over to Tommy's, walked in and immediately got hit in the face with a dynamometer and some grippers. And there was no rest in between until we got caught up. So it was, I did like all the first 3 events back to back immediately. So, but yeah, that was my travel in.
So that's a really good thing to bring up is for those of you who might not know, especially for Kurt and Brad, where was everybody traveling from? Trond, we got you. You're 2 hours west. Keith, where were you traveling from?
Rochester, New York.
Kurt?
And I'm right outside of Philadelphia, Bucks County.
Brad?
I hail from Holland, Michigan, which is right on the west side of the state, right on the lake.
Yep. And I'm coming from Ontario, Canada. So yeah, my trip is a bit, what do you call it? Storied. Okay. So, I knew booking it that the 45-minute layover was going to scare me, right? Because of the last time I flew down there and the layovers were just ridiculous. So when I got there, they're like, oh, there's a 20-minute delay. And I was like, okay, 20-minute delay. That should still get me there. The gates are right next to each other. That shouldn't be a problem. And Kurt starts messaging me about, I think, a week before. And I'll be honest, Kurt, I have to be upfront. I actually didn't know who you were at the time. Because nobody did. Yeah, you were so new to Discord. And you're like, are you going to be at Crü Falls? And I was just like, again, you'll probably have already learned. You're Crü, so I just innately trusted you. And I'm like, yeah, this is my flight. This is when we land, blah, 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 blah. All right, so right as my flight is getting delayed, I'm messaging Kurt going, I might miss our flight, man, because like I was meeting you. I didn't know I was meeting Matthias too.
I didn't know he'd be there either.
In Chicago, and we were all flying to Sioux Falls together. And I was like, I got to be honest, man, I think I'm going to miss this flight. So as we're getting in the air, I'm just before I turn off my phone, I was just like, I think I messaged you like, I'll let you know as soon as I land.
Yeah.
So as soon as I get a signal, my phone's on, right? Like I don't mess with the airplane mode when they're like, it has to be an airplane mode. No, it doesn't. So I was like, I message you and my app starts updating, telling me they've changed my flight to 9 p.m. That's an 8-hour layover. So I messaged Kurt. I was like, I missed it, man. They already booked my flight. And Kurt goes, no, we're still here. Run. And I'm like, and at that point I had already gone to the gate attendant. She moved me up to the plane. So she moved me up to the front of the plane so I could get off first. Cause she's like, we can't promise they're going to do the thing where they say, if you have a connecting flight, please get off first. So I don't have an overhead bag. I only have my under the seat bag. And I go, as I'm trying to stand up, this guy stands in front of me to get his bag down. I'm like, oh, hey, man, my connecting flight's like literally about to leave. I got to go. He goes, yeah, me too. And I went, yeah, you're smaller than me. He wasn't, but I actually like shoved the guy over and like ran past him because like he was just being like, I don't need anything, man. Just let me past you for a second. And he was like, no. And I was like, well, then move. So I bolt. And there is Kurt and Matthias. I'm going to say this in the most legal terms I can, delaying the flight. Telling this gate attendant who I am, where I'm coming from, that I'm landing right now.
Zedco.
I come running up. Oh, no, that comes into play there, Keith. I come running up. I'm out of breath. I'm dodging people. It's like an Assassin's Creed episode. Like I'm just like in between people. And I get up out of breath and she's like, all right, you're Joseph. And I'm like, yep. And Kurt and Matthias like, you made it. And I was like, only if they didn't sell my seat. She goes, no, we did. We sold your seat already. And I could feel it. I was like, oh. I was like, do I seriously have to stand here for 8 hours right now? And she goes, no, I got you another seat. Fucking elated. I was elated. I was like, seriously? She's like, well, if you don't want it. I was like, no, like if you weren't employed right now, I'd hug you. I'm so happy. Thank you. Like if you weren't on the job right now, I'd be so thrilled to hug you. And Matthias turns to me and goes, yeah, you know how you spell your name at the end of every episode of Unpaid and Underrated? That's how I knew to spell your name to tell them who you were. He's like, I sang your song, the MLECZKO. And he was like, I did it in your cadence. I did it in like the way that you do it. Like, he's like, because you do that every week, I was able to translate who you are and to get you that seat, which is amazing.
Your weekend.
I did, because then my seat was right next to Matthias. So we had, as much as we were like chatting at the same time, I'm out of breath. I'm exhausted. So sorry if I wasn't too entertaining there, Matthias, but that was really fun. And then, so then we land and jump in the car with Grayson. And I'm like, are you guys sure you don't want me to wait? And Matthias is like, no, my car's here. And then I'm off to Tommy's to jump into the gym. And overwhelmingly just people in the gym. And then, Keith, if you want to go now to the next subject.
Yeah, so just
questions, do your stuff there.
That's literally where we're at. Was Tommy's gym. We'd all seen it. We'd all seen it on YouTube. It was really cool to see in person. I don't know if anything stuck out to anyone specifically as far as the gym itself. That lat pull down looked pretty sweet. I'm glad that he's kind of expanded the stall mats. His heater looked nice and brand new in the corner that he'd been talking about. He said listening back to the episode that came out after we were already there. He talked about how he was in there scrubbing his floors and stuff. So that was kind of cool hearing them talk on the sister podcast on yesterday/today's episode of how he was basically prepping the garage. And then we kind of saw that firsthand, but I'm hearing about it and delayed. So, opening up his home to us like that was awesome. Appreciate him and his wife letting us
Absolutely.
in there. I think like at least 30 of us definitely peed in the downstairs bathroom. That was very, very nice of him to let us do that. So I have officially peed in both of the sister hosts' bathroom and outside of Chris Mark's house, who doesn't really count because he's local. I think I might be the first host to have peed in a guest house, because I definitely took a pee at Paul Foss's house.
Oh, I was gonna say I peed at your house.
Oh yeah, that's adjacent.
Wait, I think my kids peed at your house. That might be a Trump.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, the Tommy's gym was great, and then we kind of got into the Grip Guantlet. It was 5 events that none of us really knew what it was, other than we knew it was going to be a grip contest. So I try to recreate it here real quick. It was the dyno monitor, whatever the hell, I can't pronounce that word, but you were just
dynomammometer.
Yeah, it gives you a numerical rating of your grip strength
in kilos.
Yeah, it was sometimes in kilos.
Yeah, so 2 people go ahead of me and they're all at like 120 or 130. And then I go and I'm at 52 and I'm like, I guess I'm weak today. Like, I don't know how else to explain this.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Oh, kilos.
Yeah. And then Big Spicy Pizza Daniel goes and he goes, that's not right. And then they measure it and they're like, oh, it was in kilos. And he comes up to me and he goes, I think yours was in kilos. And I was like, that makes sense. I have a 4-plate comfortable deadlift, like no warm up. I'm pretty sure my grip is better than 50.
It was that. It was the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
It was
the Grip Genies.
The grippers.
Yeah, the grippers themselves. Those were hard. Those are not fun. Blobs. And then the hang off the eggplant and the peach. I believe that was all 5. Yeah.
Yep.
I underperformed what I wanted to do on pretty much most of them. The blob I was pretty annoyed about because the rest I haven't, it was all implements I've never touched before ish.
They were
I mean, I've done
frustrating.
grippers, but grippers are different from one brand to the next. But the blob, I got the half 60 and almost got the half 70. I just I was smoked at that point. But I have got the half 70 at home, which whatever that doesn't count there. But it was But all in all, that was a blast. How did everyone do, or did anyone have any expectations going in, or underperform or overperform or anything like that?
I think the sneaky one was the hang. That was significantly harder than I expected it to be. So especially with a couple of the guys going early, hanging on there for like a minute, that just makes that even more insane because I was struggle bussing, and I'm significantly less fat than I was previously.
Yeah, I'm fat like you were previously, and it was very hard. It was very hard. I was very happy to get 17 seconds because I think I beat like 3 people or something. I was like, sweet, I didn't come in last.
As soon as Hogan hit a minute and a half, I was like, the moment this becomes hard, I'm dropping. Like I wasn't going to be sitting there struggling. I was just like, no, it's already hard. I don't want to do it. And I think I made like 26 seconds. Kurt, how'd you do?
The blobs were really frustrating, and I guess if there was a little bit more time and I had more wherewithal, I wish I would have went after the 60 again. Was the 60 the
It was the
third
first one.
It was the first one.
Just it was a half 60, a half 70, a half 80, half 90.
I thought the 30 was the first one for some reason.
Well, so it was 30 pounds, but it was half of a 60. So that's where it got confusing for a lot of people because a blob is half of a dumbbell. Some people call it the true weight, and some people call it half of a blank.
Yeah, so I did get the half 60, and I feel like I could have got the half 70, but there were so many people doing so many different things. I didn't want to keep going after it
and they were super cold and super like humid and wet, so like that didn't help.
That was one of the things Tommy did mention. He said he checked the humidity when we
like
started everything, and it was 80%. Like 40%. It was like 30 or 40% at the start. And then when we started, we pulled out the blobs. He checked, and it was over 80. And so that's when he opened the doors up, and they wiped down the blobs and coated them in chalk all over his nice, freshly cleaned floor that we then covered in a thick layer of chalk.
I almost ate it on that floor like twice.
It was very slippery.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
Yeah. I was like, Tommy, you gotta just cover this whole place in stall mats, and he was just like, oh. Yeah, I did that. I didn't even get a single blob up, and again, like I wasn't there to win any prizes. Like I'm the host of Unpaid and Underrated. I feel like me winning prizes is kind of out of pocket anyway.
Kind of not allowed. I feel on a lot of these unless we really earn them.
I was just there to like have fun and shoot the shit and everything like that. So I definitely underperformed with what I think I could have done, but I also wasn't there to like try either. So like I'm not disappointed in myself. Yeah, so that's the goal. Does anybody else want to talk about Tommy's?
There's one more thing I'm disappointed in. As a newbie, there was so much that I learned this weekend, and I didn't know the origin of Brad the Pad. So I really wish.
Did you not watch the Lift Hard Live Easy recap?
With all of that happening, like I was just like, okay, like I he's into it and everything like that, and everybody else is into it. But like,
are they calling him a pad because he's a pussy and he wears pads? I don't get it.
Why? Why is it every time he goes up to do something, we throw the bells of steel pad at him?
That's great. So when did you learn the origin of that? Did you figure it out by the sticker?
I think that wasn't until Saturday night. I think Tanner might have been the one who told me that like he just got thrown into that responsibility. And
well, yeah, because Jake didn't have anyone set like they were about to start going when like carrying the shield. It was like the females were up first, and I think it was Tyler's wife. And I was like, "There's no fucking buddy with a pad. That's gonna hit the ground really, really hard." And then someone finally went and grabbed a pad, and Brad just kind of handed it to him, I believe.
Yeah, Jake.
And there was
not
the
first run.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and once we all saw how hard it was, none of us volunteered to take that responsibility away from Brad.
Yep, that's how I achieved living meme status. I'm just a living meme.
Yeah, and then the the meme was, I think everybody was sitting in the hotel lobby, and wasn't it British David?
Yeah.
While
right
he was
next,
sitting right
next
next
to
to
you.
you,
I was sitting right next
he
to him.
created the Brad the Pad meme, and then there was no stopping it after that.
Nope.
That's
All
classic.
right. Kurt, just a quick question. When did you join Crew?
Back in August, so I had been watching the content for a while, but I finally did the right thing and became a contributing member back in August.
Okay. Okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that would have been after the Live Hard, Live Easy. Okay. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
have some knowledge of what we're gonna do here and some not. So then after that, like there was no plan. So we just all kind of
Yeah, we didn't. I think we ended up going to. What did we do? We went to
we went to
No.
Monks.
Monks. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
first, you guys all got to experience a
Tiger
South
meat.
Dakota
Yeah,
delicacy.
tiger meat. That
Yeah,
should have been.
can't forget that.
Yeah, that's on
That'll
our
actually- that'll-
that's
that'll
our
come up.
unpaid and underrated.
Yeah,
So we're
that'll
not
come up
let's
later.
not push that right now.
Okay.
But we got to oh yeah, I'll add some other things there too.
Yep. Feel free.
Yep.
And then anything we can delete them as we talk about.
But essentially, I was like, I've been flying all day. I'm hungry. This place is loud. I want to leave. And then I just stood in a circle, I think, with Trond, Hannah, and Grayson. And like, we're just like, where do we go? And I think we established, yeah, I think we just established everybody go back to the hotel and figure it out from there.
Mhm.
But then Trond was like, well, as we were driving, I think you said Monks is right there. And I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just fucking like, it's a 4-minute walk from everybody's hotel.
Yeah.
So we ended
Yeah.
up there. We'll get more into Monks later because I think that's in our unpaid and underrated.
I mean, it doesn't have to be. I just
No, I mean it was okay.
Mhm.
It was
Well,
okay. Like it wasn't.
The service at Monks is probably going to be an unpaid overrated. Right?
Oh yeah, good
Unpaid
call,
or
'cause
underrated.
I might have gone the other way, but now that I remember that, I got a whole story for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we
But
went out to
remember,
Monks,
the
had a good
service is
time.
always my fault.
You did. Every time I've gone out with you, you have had a.
I had no problems with
interaction-
her service. I just get up
interaction
and went and
with
get
me
my
that-
own shit.
I know. It's just funny.
Like I was a bartender. I just
all right.
walk up and go, I asked for water, you didn't bring it. Can I just have my water, please? Like
Well, I wish we were able to get someone that stayed in the Crew Airbnb on the episode, but just with scheduling and whatnot, the couple people I had talked to just weren't able to make it. So I heard some horror stories. We all saw the pictures. It was pathetic. I think the only one that made out on the deal was Matt Sundling, who probably fucking told everybody it was a lot nicer than it was, and he somehow ended up being the only asshole to get his own bedroom, I believe, and everyone else was either sharing a room or literally sleeping on a pull-out couch or sleeping on a pull-out futon, or it was more of a chair that turned into a futon, but it wasn't fucking flat. And then Aft let someone borrow a little air mattress and a sleeping bag, and that might have been actually the best bed of the fucking house, which is wild. But they all only paid $25 a night. But so 8 grown men, fucking one bathroom. What the no, I don't care. I think I spent $300 to stay at the Hilton, and I would do that again in a heartbeat for 2 nights. That was so fucking convenient, and I didn't have to worry about getting a ride anywhere as far as the downtown after hours shit. So. Yeah. Did anyone get any specifics other than that? Was it anybody get any horror stories told to them in confidence or anything? Because it just seemed horrible. A horrible sleeping arrangement, horrible living arrangement that I could never do.
Yeah, I think most of them just didn't want to bring it up. It was so traumatic for all of them. They
didn't want to give us content.
If they were out of the house, they just wanted to pretend that they didn't have to go back and stay there. So,
oh, there was 3 CPAP machines too. That was even that cracked me up too. 3 of them that had to be such a loud.
It wasn't tripping breakers or something.
We also spent 3 weeks going yeah. That's gonna be awful. Leading up to it on the unpaid and underrated
so much
podcast.
worse than we anticipated.
I know.
I at least expected it to be 3 or 4 rooms that all had double beds, not some asshole sleeping on a fucking floor, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I think like Toby's bed was literally a padded lawn chair.
Yeah.
The 3-fold lawn chair when he was breaking it down and showing how he laid it out. It was literally just a lawn chair with a couch cushion on it.
And then there was no extra bedding either. So no one had other than the 2 beds. I think Matthias did find some disgusting pillows in the basement on the last night. But
they found all the bedding. It was unwashed in the basement in a pile.
It was just on the floor.
That's what you get for $25 a night, apparently.
Weird thing as a Canadian. So we're at Monks. We've all eaten at this point. We're all getting ready to settle in and have fun. and in walks the Minnesota lifters, the Department of Minnesota Safety Lifting. I'm never gonna get it right, and at this point, it's a bit. And they're like, "Oh, we were gonna go to Texas Roadhouse, but there's a shooter."
Facts.
And
Yeah,
I'm like,
active shooter.
I was like, guys, I've been in America for a day. Like,
Hey, we wanted to give you the full American
I
experience,
appreciate
Joey.
that. So I text my wife and I'm like, LOL, active shooter down the street, and she lost her mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. That's not a smart thing to text your wife who's home alone with your kids and probably doesn't want to be a widow, bud.
LOL, active shooter is the correct text.
I waited till the next day to relay that message.
Yeah. That was definitely one of those. Then later I had to tell her, like, no, we have a rule now. Nobody walks anywhere alone. Like we had to do that after Lou had, was it Lou or Trond had some horror stories about something going on.
I think that was Lou.
Yeah, like Lou's girlfriend Elle. I think one of her brother was in Sioux Falls and got jumped outside Remedy or something like that. So we were just like, all right, nobody walks alone. And then I walked everywhere alone. But like, so that settles up that, I think, that first day.
Basically all Friday, and then takes us into to Saturday. We all woke up. I think everyone got to sleep until about 7 or so, and no, I didn't. I was up and somehow my phone was in do not disturb, but Stephanie still texted me, and it ended up being like 5:30 Sioux Falls time, and I'm like, motherfucker. So
same.
My day started at 5:30. But Original Pancake House, I was able to, I think at least a few people, several of the people that were there was the first time there. I had been billing it up for, pretty highly. We somehow amazingly got our table. We literally had to wait for like 2 seconds, and we ended up getting like a huge area, and then we ended up giving some of it away because we didn't know how many people were going to show up, and then we ended up needing more. So a couple people had to like sit on the other. Everyone was still in the very general vicinity, but it was great service there. Our waiter was a
seriously
diet.
What the
fuck?
Diet Bryce.
Right, Diet Bryce. Yeah. Diet Bryce.
It was funny because we were like, why isn't Bryce here? And I think me and you at the same time went, that is Bryce. Like, I think we both said it and pointed at the guy.
And I really wish Matthias was here, because I was sitting next to Matthias, and I was trying to get a picture of Bryce and Diet Bryce together. I could have just asked the guy and he would have gladly done it, but I was just like, didn't want to have that ask. So I just, discreetly took it, but it wasn't very discreet. And then I happened to be like looking at it while he was handing me my bill later. So, and Matthias was like, damn well, he just saw that picture of me. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I got my nice 25% tip, I think, just for that. Yep. But my food was great. Conversation was great. Absolutely, everybody else, I don't think hopefully no one had any complaints about a Pancake House.
No, that was the meal I was most excited for, because I haven't had pancakes in 6 months, and that meal lived up to the hype. I had the Western omelet and washed it down with some pancakes.
Perfect.
I was living the dream.
And it was very reasonable too. I mean, it was even with all the add-ons I got, it was still like $25, and it would have been a lot less if I didn't get potatoes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had the just bacon and eggs, and I added a side of avocado, and I don't think I paid more than $25. And I will say, because we were the first ones there, me and Trond and Brad,
Dr. Hogan.
Oh, Dr. Hogan. Yeah, we were the first ones there. We walked in, and they're like, "How many?" And we went 40,
30, 40,
30, 40, yeah. And I'll tell you, they didn't flinch. Nope.
They didn't bat an eye.
Nope. They were just like, "Do you have a reservation?" And we went, "Maybe." And we gave her Tanner and Tommy's name, and they said, "No, it's under some Carly girl." We're like, "Well, sure, we'll be Carly." Yeah. And they just like, "No, give me a minute." And they like did it. Like they did it.
Nope.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. That was top tier service. And I think next year, Tommy, Tanner, if you're listening, might want to book in advance on that one.
Well, I think they try. I think it has to be like the morning. I don't think they do like, hey, Friday night call ahead. I think it's just like someone has to show up first thing in the morning, or they have to call that morning. Because I remember talking to Tommy about it last year, but obviously they didn't put any reservations in this year. But it is what it is.
But we didn't need to, and it was our food was good. It was fast.
It seemed a lot less busy than it was last year. So
well, I mean, like if we had been there like 15 minutes later. Like that's when the crowds, the crowd started coming in. So like we got just in time, we got our tables, and then as everybody just came in, I was up there looking, and there was people sitting there waiting, and there was a delay, so we timed it perfect.
Yeah, good work, Crü.
Yeah. And then we all had to pack up in the cars and drive all the way across town to go to the gym. It was all of about I don't even I mean we technically left the strip mall, but I only had to cross one road, and I think we were
Yep.
there in 90 seconds or less. If it
Yep.
wasn't just like such a congested, busy parking lot, it would have been a probably would have been a 90-second walk too, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So that was super convenient for us. Then we got to who can actually pronounce it, because I keep butchering it. How
Los
do you actually pronounce
Campanos.
Los
There we go.
Campanos?
Yeah, I see. I have you written Los Campesinos. So maybe that's why you can't pronounce it, because you wrote Campesinos.
I Googled it, and it was like the first thing that came up that was similar to like what I tried to butcherly Google, and I was like, that's got to be it.
I think we established later it's just Latin or Spanish for the champions. I'll go first because I do want to talk a little bit about what I did there. I did not go to train. I did not have any set training. I turned Juggernaut pretty much off for a week and was like, I just want to try all the stuff I can't do at home. So I hit 120-pound log press, which I've literally never done before.
Nice.
I think I could have gone to 130, but everybody wanted to jump to 150, and I could not get that 150 up.
Yeah,
but I also I weigh 160. So overhead pressing more than my body weight doesn't seem, I'm not sad about it. Then I got to try the yoke, which was amazing and probably one of my fastest rising reels I've ever put up there. That I did the 380. I got it about the 15 feet, not the 30 feet. The 270 I ran that 30 feet and back, and that was easy for me. Did definitely bruise one of the vertebrae on my back doing it.
Yeah, I can't put a yoke on my back. That seems scary.
I don't have a lot of complaints about that because like it was cool to do. I did try lifting that super sharp rock, which I think Trond will talk about more in a minute.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
He brought that in. He put it down. I was like, I'm going to lift that. And
Big Colty.
I think, Colty. I think it was Hogan was like, careful, look at that thing. That thing had the sharpest edges I've ever seen on a rock. And it was only like 120 or something like that. But I was like, well, I'll
160.
160. I was like, yeah, I'll stand up with it at least. And I did. And what else did I get to? I got to play with that circus dumbbell, but that circus dumbbell was way out of my range for like.
It was a heavy empty. I mean, it was fairly heavy for being empty, but
going in cold to a circus dumbbell at 80 pounds, like that's pretty big. I want to say the pendulum squat and the other squat machine that they had there, those things are incredible. Those burned my thighs empty. I was like, oh, I can't wait to add weight to these. But then I was like, no, I want to do the yoke. I'm not going to burn out my thighs this quick. I did not do any deadlifting, which is shocking to most people. But yeah, that was my time at Los Campeanos. I don't want to hear about everybody else's.
Brad, what'd you do, buddy?
Well, kind of much like Joey, I kind of tried all the things I can't do at home. I have a barbell and a squat rack at home, so I kind of steered away from that. They had some really, really rad machines that I just had to give a whirl. That pendulum squat was really, really cool. Absolutely shredded my hamstrings. My hamstrings are still sore.
Now, there was two of them. So there was the one that goes on your shoulders and you squat.
That's the one.
One of them was the Rogers Athletics, and then the other was the Arsenal, I think, right?
Yeah, the Arsenal squat. That one, I love that thing. I loved both of them, but I loved that Arsenal squat.
Yep.
Yeah, so I played around with that for quite a while, and then I spent some time over just dinking with the machines. I don't get to play with those very often, so I was having a lot of fun just getting a good old classic pump on and exploring, trying some new things. And then Hannah told me that they had a posing room in there, so I had to go check that out.
Yeah,
got into a pose down with Keith and Joey. So that was a highlight of my day.
Well, yeah, me and you were in there. We're just like, we've got our stringers or our tank tops, and we're just like, and then Keith walks in and goes, shirts off or tarps off or whatever he said. He just rips his shirt off, and we're like, oh yeah, all right, we'll do that too.
Hell yeah, why not?
Kurt, how was your time at Los Campeanos?
So Saturday is the day where I can actually like train at a reasonable pace where I'm not training at 5 a.m. So it was really nice to be able to take my time over 3 hours and just hit all the lifts I wanted to do, which was just the big three, nothing too adventurous in that regard. But also I'm still meeting everybody at that point. So I got to talk to Big Nate for a while, which was pretty cool. Saturday was actually the day that I really got to talk to Tommy for the first time because he had so much going on
Gary?
Friday night.
Or no, who the hell's Big Nate? Why am I?
Nate Moe.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yep. Yep.
I call him Mo, but yeah.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, like I'm saying, it was the first time I really got to talk to Tommy because he was so busy on Friday night, and everything. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Using all those York deep dish plates that they have that I don't normally get to lift with, which was pretty cool. And by the time I got to deadlifting was the last thing that I did. That was after the Massonomics Boys Choir had their performance. So I think most people were probably like ready to go at that point. I got a few good sets in, but I had to kind of cut that down a little bit. But I mean, that just goes to show if all I was doing was squatting, benching, and deadlifting, over that much time, it just, again, it shows how much time I had to kind of meet everybody, talk with everybody, and still get a really good lift in at a really, really good gym too. So awesome experience.
There was a young kid there too. I don't know if you saw him training on the Smith machine. From what I understand, he just started a high school athletics or middle school athletics, and he was there to train. And I was just like, the whole time I was just like, that's the coolest. Like, that's what you want to see in a gym. There's just some kid there, maybe 14, 15, and he's just benching and squatting on the Smith machine. That was awesome to watch. So that's a good vibe for that gym, right? Trond, I think you have the most stories.
Yeah. So let's see. What did I do? It's hard to remember. No, so I had I also didn't have anything planned. Yeah. I just wanted to go in and try out like machines and stuff like that. So I messed around with the pencil squat.
Okay, he's frozen. We'll give him a second. No, he's back.
He's here.
Maybe.
I mean, South Dakota just got Wi-Fi, so it could be sketchy.
Yeah. Oh, I learned that.
The 605 is a little behind.
Back? You guys got me?
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
Yep.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah.
All
so start from circus dumbbell if you can.
All right. So circus dumbbell, did that for the first time. That was fun. And then I did, man, I'm going dead again. Son of a bitch.
That was one of my biggest
does not
complaints.
Want me to tell this story.
Nah, you're good. We can hear you. We don't need to see you. So keep going.
Oh, okay. All right. You guys keep freezing, so then I stop talking. All right. I'll just tell the story and then retell it as many times as I need to. So I did the circus dumbbell. That was fun. Did a overfilled sandbag. That was fun. And then Colton brought in the rocks and picked up the rock and had lapped it really easy, brought it to my chest, and I was going to shoulder it, and it felt so good. I had an intrusive thought, man, this feels so good. I could probably just press this. And before I even recognized the intrusive thought, I started to try to press it overhead and ended up dropping the rock on my head a little bit. Got a nice little sliver cut above my eyebrow. It took out a couple of chunks of hair.
That was a lot of hair.
Yeah, a lot of hair. A small animal's worth of hair got pulled out of my scalp. Some of it was pulled, some of it was just sliced by the rock. And then the great thing was, I went to the bathroom and applied direct pressure to stop the bleeding. I came back and Colton came and found me and he goes, "Oh, did the rock get you too?" And he showed me his hands, and the rock, just from loading it that morning, had sliced 3 of his fingers, and he had them all taped up.
Oh yeah, he was all taped up. I thought he was doing that for he had a
nope. That was from loading that rock into the back of his truck.
Yeah, it got me a bit too. I was able to shred it off with some deadlift bars, but it got me a bit too.
Yeah,
that rock is a menace. I hope I don't know if they can file that down or chip that down or something, but
yeah, I think you could just take a hammer to some of those edges, and you ought to be able to scuff it up and smooth it out a little bit.
Nice.
Does anyone want to tell the story of the Massonomics choir, because that was ridiculous?
I'll tell my lifting story first before we can end with that.
Oh, who the fuck are you?
I'm fucking Big Keith. So I'm at that time. I was a week out from my strongman show, and I basically needed to get a little bit of heavy lifting still in. So Colton had told me they had a circus dumbbell that only weighed 80 pounds, and I was like, well, that's great because that's like top end of where I could start to warm up, and I'm shooting for 115 in my comp coming up, so I worked up to like 107. You can call it 105, but the axle was 80, or the circus dumbbell was 81, and they had some thick ass collars, so that's 82 to me, and so I'll take that as 107 pounds fully locked out for a 2 pound PR. So I was ecstatic to hit that. Watching the video back, it actually looked fucking great. Other than it was rolling around on my shirt because it was I feel like it was a freshly painted circus dumbbell, so it was really slick. So it didn't want to like sit on my shoulder worth of shit. So I was struggling with that, but then like the press was beautiful when I watched it back. Big shout out to Angry Monkey Ryan. He got a great front end video, so appreciate that, bud. And that was really the only thing I had in mind that whole weekend was just I wanted to hit a heavy, circus dumbbell, and I didn't want to end on a bad note. So I took my little PR and just kind of fucked around for another hour after that. Did the jumped in the posing room at least twice, I think. So my shirt ain't never been off that much in a long time. My favorite machine they had there was the Arsenal Strength side lat raise, and it was wild too because like me, Joey, and Ryan DeFay all used it. So we're talking like 5'5" to 6'5", all in like a matter of like 2 minutes. And we all found like the perfect handle kind of feel for it, and I got a disgustingly burning lats after that. So I thought it was a great machine. Very impressed with that. The gym as itself had a lot of cool shit. I don't know. Whoever wants to tell the stained group picture photo or
Creed.
Jump in. Yeah, her too. Trond, what did we do, buddy, with the group photo?
Yeah, you have the best storytelling here.
As he's frozen. So.
Gosh darn it!
Hey, Brad, what happened with Creed in the group photo?
Well, as we were all gathering around for our big group photo there, it was perfect timing that a little ditty from Creed called Higher happened to come through those speakers. And we just inadvertently, like a Disney film, broke out in song together as the Massonomics Boys Choir, and Ladies Choir, because there were two ladies, and we just belted it out, and it was beautiful. It still brings a tear to my eye thinking about it.
Me too. Actually, it was ridiculous.
I had just assumed that it was a request. I was like, there's no way that things lined up that perfectly.
I don't know, but like someone definitely cranked it up because that was the loudest the music had been that whole day.
So
there was something.
A little insight there. So Tanner goes, let's get a group photo. So I'm now going to try and recruit people, right? So I'm running around making sure everybody that's wearing a Massonomic shirt is in there. And as soon as we all started gathering, that's when the song started. And that's when I was like, is this on purpose? And then I think somebody was like, go turn that up, right? Like, I think that was one of those, like, I think it was right when we all started gathering, the song started. So that as we all posed, that's when the chorus kicked in. And I think somebody clicked in that were like, okay, this is going to be funny. But no, it was not on purpose. It was not like somebody was like, put this song on during this, because I was with Tanner and Tommy while they were gathering everybody, but it was just perfectly timed.
I had asked them. I just assumed that they told them, hey, when we start gathering, play this song.
Nope.
And that's not what happened at all. And it was, I think as we were all gathering, a few guys started like humming and singing singing low. And then more of us started joining in. And then
So he's going to say, as I think that the gym people realized.
Staff, they saw and heard, and then they started cranking it up for us.
And then right at the end there, you just hear me go, fucking ridiculous. And that got like a huge laugh from the crowd, because I was just like, there's no way that was real.
Yeah.
But it was, and that was really funny. And then I know last year you guys did Costco, but I think for this time there was no plans for lunch.
Yeah, no, Tommy and Tanner didn't have anything set up, and
I didn't want to go to Costco. I didn't want to fly across
the
continent to go to Costco. That was not.
That wouldn't have been fun.
I spent a lot of time in Costco's in the past 4 weeks. I wasn't thrilled to go to another one.
One last gym story before we jump on lunch was I had ran out. I knew that Tanner had brought Brad's pads to Tommy's because I saw him in his truck that morning, I think, when he was loading the grip stuff. I saw him the night before when he was loading up the grip stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. Because Colton had told me that Los Campeanos only had one pair of shitty pads, and I know there's a bunch of people doing strongman stuff. I was like, well, that's not going to work. We need more drop pads than that. So I ran out to Tanner's truck, and I was thankful it was unlocked because he was recording the YouTube video, so I wasn't going to ask him for his keys or anything while he was like fucking literally interviewing the gym owner. So his truck was unlocked, so I grabbed the pads out of the back, went in, used them, and I was literally like in Jen's car ready to go to lunch, and I was like, "Fuck! I didn't bring Tanner's pads out," and so I had to run back in and grab them because they were like basically like put away with the other pads, like they were like they were the gyms, and they would have been fucking gone until the next time someone went to Sioux Falls. So I ran back and threw them in Tanner's truck, and he didn't even know they were gone. Because I was talking about it later that night, and I told him that I took them out and put them back in. He was like, "Yeah, I saw them in there," and I was like, oh, those look like mine, but I don't remember bringing them in. And when I opened my truck to leave, they were in my truck again. So I figured, I don't know. So I did get a kick out of that, and then that kind of took us right to lunch, where there was a lot of some of the people wanted to go to the hotel and change and get cleaned up, but a lot of us, at least I was in the group that was more like, well, it's already like 1 o'clock. If I go to the hotel, we're not going to get back out till like 2 or 3.
I do have one
6.
Before you get that far. I have one story from the gym parking lot that I think Trond is going to want to be a part of.
Yeah, sure. I like it. So I've never heard.
Trond pops his trunk, and he's got 8 of these bells of steel stringers that he got for $1 each or something crazy like that. And he's like, "Does anybody want one of these?" And everybody's like, "I don't even know what they are. I don't know what I do with them." And he's like, "Buddy, they're $1. Take them." So I think we got Bryce to take one. I think
Paul took one.
Paul took one. Sunlang. Yeah. And then we're right next to Tanner's truck as you're loading in the pads.
Yeah.
And I just turn to Trond and I go, "Just throw one in Tanner's truck. Like, what's the worst that would happen?"
Yeah.
And Troll Joey comes out and just throw one in. What's he going to do? So that was pretty funny. Tanner was like, "What the hell is this? Where'd this come from?"
And he hasn't given it back yet. So it's his now. What to do with it. So.
Yep. Tried my first.
Yeah, I was selling those pretty
hard. And give it back to you next year.
Yeah,
that's probably what's going to happen. Is I'm going to come up in July and he's going to stick it in the back of my truck.
Yeah. Suddenly there'll be 10 of those back in your truck. Nobody knows what to do with them.
Like I don't need this.
Yeah.
So I think you guys all went to sushi and none of us wanted anything to do with sushi.
There was 20 of us there, so
half of them.
It was a lot.
Not everybody went for sushi though.
Yep.
So.
Nope.
Yeah, there were 7 or 8 people at Hibachi and like 10 people at our table, I think. So, but it was cool. It was great food. I've never had yum yum sauce before, at least to my knowledge. It was the greatest fucking tasting thing in the world. Because
why did they call that, Keith?
That's
I got
not just a clever name.
I got the steak hibachi and like I just basically had a big plate of rice left when I was done with all the meat and veggies, and I just dumped the rest of the rice in the sauce and kind of mixed it up, and I was like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever." But yeah, I got a lot of good conversations. Talked to Gary a good bit I'd never really talked to before, and just fucking big angry monkey there. He ordered whatever the fuck he ordered. It came out on this like did you guys
Sex on the beach.
It came out on like a raft. It was like a flute. Like it would literally look like something out of like a jungle. It was the weirdest, like most decorative like platter plate. It was very interesting looking. But it was great food. And I know Joey, you guys went back to the hotel, got cleaned up, and then ended up going out and pretty much consuming from like 2-3 o'clock until the end of the night.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a part of.
We ended up at a place called Blarney Stone, which again
was there last year. Yeah,
would 100% recommend.
Yeah, real nice.
Yeah, they were good to us. The service was great. They didn't flinch when we told them like, yeah, there might be 20 of us coming, and yeah, I think about 20 of us were there by the end of lunch. Had some wings, had some chislic, had some cheese sticks. Milo.
Now, was your chislic actually? Because there was some debate on that. Some like Jen got chislic later that night, and it was just beef tips essentially.
Yeah.
But one of the locals was saying that chislic specifically needs to be lamb, I believe.
I mean, back when lambs existed in South Dakota, yes, chislic was sheep. Trond, I think you're the expert on that.
Yeah, it's just for some reason there's just not a lot of sheep ranchers or shepherds or whatever you want to call them in South Dakota. So it's hard for them to source lamb at restaurants. So I think they're going to just get beef. Shit, like, which there's nothing wrong with that.
No, no, it was delicious. Absolutely. My wings were pretty good, probably the best presented wings. The guy asked me if I wanted ranch, and I was like, I don't need ranch for these hot wings, but I didn't realize there was vegetables on the side because sometimes you don't get vegetables. So I ended up getting ranch. Sunling razzed me pretty hard for not getting ranch in the Midwest.
You told him no, and then you had to ask him to bring it out later.
I know, and he was
always causing trouble. It's like
even
the ninth story I've heard you cause trouble with the waiter.
The kid was just like, I thought it was weird you said no, and I was like, I know, I'm sorry. Can I please have that ranch? And then Tanner showed up with his box of this old thing, and then everybody kind of headed to Remedy directly after that. We got a really funny picture. That was all thanks to Brad. Brad, do you want to give that story?
Yeah, they had this little, I don't know, tinsel lit up. It looked like, I don't know, maybe like an ornament
Christmas
or an arch
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that, and we had just seen the Cesne's Christmas photo.
Oh,
and
that's okay.
Yeah, Tanner and I saw that as we were walking over to the Blarney, and I just thought that was hilarious. And I thought we needed to seize this opportunity to one up the Cesne's. And I don't know if we did or not, but I think it's pretty hilarious. I love it.
I'm getting it made into a Christmas ornament.
It was a good group photo for sure. You guys, that'll be a good one to have.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And then, I think we all hit Remedies up. I was gonna, because we ended up, like, the people that did the sushi, we ended up almost having, like, too much of a break. Because it was, like, I got back to the hotel at, like, 2:30, and we didn't, like, get to Remedies till, like, 5:45 or something. So I probably, because Tanner and I were on the same floor, and we just, almost every single time that one of it, like, I saw Tanner, like, 6 times in the hotel. So it was like, he was like, yeah, I don't know that I want to hang out, or I don't know that I want to be in the room till 6 o'clock. So I might check Discord around 4. And I was like, yeah, I probably will too. And then when he didn't see me respond or anything around 4 o'clock when he was heading over, he kind of knew that I was just laying in bed pretty comfortable. And I sure was. I had not got dressed or packed or anything at that point. And I was like, all right, I guess I need to get up and start packing because I didn't want to have to deal with that later that night or in the morning. So, we headed over to Remedies. Like Jen, a bunch of guys, I think Brad and a bunch of other people walked over to Remedies around 5:30, 5:45 once we saw you guys were moseying over there. And, we had that big room in the back we were able to take over. $5 wells for everybody, or not wells, but drafts, and it was just a good time there. I think we only had the room from 6 to 8, but like they didn't kick us out, and we ended up being there till like 9:30, which is the best. Because I didn't want to go bar hopping with all the young kids, but we ended up going bar hopping a little later. But a lot went down at Remedies. But I'll let everyone else tell their stories. For I got at least one I want to get into a little bit.
I'll go because I left. I think 7:15, 7:30. I was overstimulated. I was done. I was so tired. And as much as I was like, I know I'm not going to see some of these people in person for a year or two, I have regrets on that. But at the same time, I was just done. I came back to the hotel room and called my wife and was like, I'm very happy I came, but oh my God, I'm tired. Right? Because I'm just like, I'm in performance mode the entire time I'm there. And I just got tired. I went to bed, I think 9 o'clock. I was just out.
We did have one good comedic opportunity though. I hope you remember it when we were outside the bathroom, right as we got there. It was me, you, and I can't remember who else it was, but some other guy was standing there with us. He noticed that you had something that said Massonomics, and he was just like, oh, Massonomics, what is that? And again, it's killing me that I can't think of who else it was, but then he notices a second person also wearing Massonomics gear.
Yep.
He's like, oh, okay, you too. Then he notices I have the sand hoodie on, and so he sees like, Massonomics since forever down my sleeve, and he goes, wait a minute. What is going on here? And I just about face and turned.
You guys a cult?
I said, well, that's actually what we're here to talk to you about. Like, what is
happening? So those guys
Can I build on that? I just want to build on that story real quick because there's another very adjacent story. Hogan at Pizza Kitchen was wearing his U&U shirt, and a guy comes up to him and says, hey, what university is that from? And he's like, no, it's not a university. It's my buddy's podcast or something like that. And he's like, oh, no. what university is it from? Like, he wouldn't take like no for an answer, and then he like started telling him about his favorite university or something just stupid, and it was just the greatest interaction. So sorry, that was Hogan would tell it better than I did. So ask him.
Those guys ended up being when I went to order my first beer, they called me over to their table and they're just like, "Are you really from Canada?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they were just like, they're not listening to this. They were dicks. They were absolute dicks. And they were just like, "Well, how come you speak English if you're from Canada?" Like they were just like the most like ignorant Americans I think I've heard. I don't know if they were playing a bit or anything, but they were just like, "Your English is pretty good for somebody from Canada." Like they were just mean, and they were like, "Say something Canadian into this microphone. We're content creators." And I wish I had been wearing my anti-influencer shirt because I fucking hate content creators. And so I just hit him with some.
You are content creators.
You're a content creator. So I started hitting them with.
Wait a minute.
So like he hands me the microphone.
You're one of those self-hating content creators.
Yes, I absolutely am. And they're like, "Say something Canadian." So I just hit him with some like Letterkenny, like fucking get your fingers out of your ass, bud, like whatever. Like I just hit him with some Letterkenny stuff. And they were like, "This is the best. Oh, we're gonna post this. This is gonna be so cool." And I was like, "Buddy, I'm from like 3 hours north of you. Like, calm down." Yeah, I definitely. Those guys ended up being a bit out of pocket for me. Yeah, and that's just when I went and pretty much hid behind Hannah for most of the night. Like I was just. Oh, Hannah's great. I was just like, "I'm overstimulated, but I don't want to leave yet. Can you help?" And she was just like, "Got you." And she bounced for me a little bit, which is great.
She inadvertently burped in my face like 4 times that night. And
inadvertently. Do you think it was inadvertently?
Well, either way, I got her back with the most brutal fucking burp on purpose, and she almost fucking puked, and it was great. I was so proud of myself. I was just like fucking payback.
It was just concentrated chicken parm right back in her face.
It was brutal. Like her face was just so disgusted, and I was like, "Yep, I got you."
Hannah might have had the coolest shirt this week.
Yeah,
Breaking Parallel shirt was really cool.
Yeah,
a lot of us have those shorts. Not too many of us has. It seems like not as many have the shirt.
Well, because the shorts were those limited edition.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't even remember the shirt. Oh, because the shirt was like way old school, maybe.
And that's what got Austin on it, right?
Yeah.
Make the shorts, you cowards.
Tracks.
And then, I don't have anything to say about the rest of Saturday night. So. You guys take it.
Kurt, you want? Stick to remedies first, I guess.
There was a pretty bizarre bathroom scene, if everybody remembers that. What was?
Yeah, the one well, there's two. Are you talking about the noise one or the picture one?
I'm talking about the noise one.
Okay, you tell the noise one, and I got a picture one, which will fucking trump that one, no matter how bad it is. It's really fucking weird.
What?
Yeah,
and I do have permission from everyone involved to tell it.
Just for my own sake, I think I'm going to keep. But like, I went in to use the bathroom, and there was a guy in the stall, and I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he was yelling really loudly, and I don't even want.
Everyone heard it over the course of a half hour. I feel.
I assume everybody at the bar heard it too, just with how loud he was being. But it sounded like he was in some kind of distress or pain. Basically, what was going on, and then he started trying to get my attention. "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir," and I was not at all. And eventually, "I need to know the time, please. What is the time? What time is it?" And I'm like, I don't. 7:30. Well, whatever. And then I left, got out of there as fast as I could. I come to find out, like 20 minutes later, apparently he was still in there and pulling the same routine with a couple other crew members too. Yep. And I overheard them telling the story. I was like, "Wait, that same guy is still in there?" They're like, "How long ago were you in there?" I'm like, "At least 20 minutes ago." They're like, "Yeah, something's going on in here. We should probably."
I gave him the time at 8:00. So he was still in there at that time.
So you guys met the White Rabbit because he was late, very late for a very important date, and you ignored it?
Late.
Do you know where he would have taken you if you had given him your attention?
Yep. Pound Town.
So he didn't ask me what time it was, but I did get I described it to a couple people who agreed. It sounded like Dan Bell having a heart attack on the toilet kind of thing. Like it was just the most like loud grunting, like constipated grunts. And I got out of there as quick as I could. So that was bathroom story number two, number one. That well, technically number two, I guess. But so in bathroom story number one, Oh wow! So do you guys remember there was briefly we saw a security guard running past the doors outside at one point, and a lot of people kind of like was like, "Oh, what's going on?" There's like one of the local security guards was running, assumingly searching for someone. So there was a security guard outside, running around looking for someone. So I had that in the back of my head from earlier. So I go to take a piss. I think this would have been pre, guy asking for the time. And there's the security guard up against the door, kind of waiting to get in the bathroom. There was two. Obviously there was someone, on the john and someone taking a leak, and the security guard was just standing outside. I assumed he was just waiting in line to take a piss, and he was extremely agitated. He was not a police officer; he was a security guard. Seemed really pissed off. Was looking at his phone, saying, "Motherfucker, it's this time. I'm so late for this. I'm so late for that. I got so much to do. Blah blah blah. Whatever." Just seemed like he was coked out of his fucking mind, like nervous, like irritated, just really fucking weird vibe. Anthony comes out of the bathroom, big Anthony. The security guard runs in, takes his phone over the stall, has the camera on, and is either using the camera as like a spy cam to see who's in there, or takes a picture. I can't really tell because like the door was open. I kind of observed the whole thing, but I wasn't. It was so like out of body experience. It was like, did he just take a picture of him or take a video? Either way, his phone was used to look who was on the John, and the guy just ran out. So end of this day, he was probably looking for a suspect of some sort or someone he was trying to chase down. But like, that's not fucking legal or PC in any fucking rhyme or reason. Like, you don't fucking look at someone's dick while they're taking a shit. That's the weirdest fucking thing in the world. Like, that's exactly what fucking happened. Like, and so come out. So I went and talked to Anthony right after this happened because was basically just leaving. Because I didn't know who was in the stall taking a dump, and I kind of told Anthony the thing, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw him run in there, but I didn't know what happened." And I told him, and he was like, "Kind of, well, that's really fucked up." And then, as we were talking, one of our other friends, Mo, who had come out of the John because that was who was on the John. So then I feel obligated. I got to tell Mo what the fuck happened, and he was like Mo, literally, someone just took a picture of you taking a shit, and the security guard, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Obviously, as anybody would be, he was actually less annoyed, I think, than I would have been. I would have fucking called 911 immediately, and fucking, if I saw the guy, I would have fucking decked him because that's just fucking weird. Because he has no fucking right to do that. He's not a cop. If it was a cop, it'd be one thing. He's not a fucking cop. He's a fucking rent-a-cop, security guard. Inappropriate, not fucking legal. Really fucking weird. Predator, fucking like pedo fucking vibe.
What?
Yeah. Well, that's what he looked. He looked like the fucking guy that Chris Hansen would fucking tell to take.
Dude, just go on with the story.
It all plays into it. His fucking vibe was more of why
was gross. His vibe was gross.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we tell like the owner of the bar, he didn't really seem to care. He was kind of like, "Yeah, I can kind of look into it if you want," but it was more like, "Are you going to push this? Because I don't give a fuck," kind of like attitude, you know. And that was it. I gave Mo my personal number, so if he wanted me to like, basically be a witness of anything, and that was just fucking weird. And then like a half hour later, go into the bathroom, and that's when I hear a damn bell in the toilet, and that was even weirder. So it was just a very weird fucking bathroom experience at Remedies. Very odd. And that was my bathroom.
Well, that's welcome to Sioux Falls, apparently. I wonder if it was the security guard on the toilet that you guys all heard. That was all like, if he was that agitated, he was like, "I had to poop. I had to poop."
He did. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I'm telling you, the guy was like worried about the time.
I've got to poop. I've got to poop at this time, and there's somebody in there. This is fucking ridiculous. Who's in there taking up time while I need to be pooping?
That would be wild. But I definitely never saw the guy after that.
Right, because he was on the shitter.
It would have been like, "Hey,"
screaming at you guys.
Definitely would have had an altercation with him. So that's a good point, though. I don't know. I didn't take a picture of him because I think that's fucking weird. So I couldn't tell you who was on the toilet.
Well, you got to wait till he's on the toilet to take the picture.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. If it was him, nonetheless. So yeah, Remedies with 3 new Hall of Fame jacket level winners. So Big Jen got hers, and she
got 2.
Matthias's jacket, which was hysterical, and like no one knew until like the pictures were already taken, and they had to redo all that, and it was great. So then it was a big spoiler, the upset of the year. Matthias did get his Hall of Fame jacket. We didn't know, it was completely out of left field. We didn't know it was coming. And then I believe it was the first master completer. We got Big Scans had hit all 15 or 16.
16.
Yeah, so it's 15 for the jacket and 16 to be the master completer. So he must have hit 2 that weekend, or already been at 15, and then Crü Falls got him 16. But either way, good for him. And that was great to see all those guys. And then we were, like I said, we were camping out at Remedies well an hour and a half past when we were supposed to get kicked out. And then the Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety, I got that right, I believe.
Nice.
They're a bunch of fucking 20 to 23-year-olds, so they were antsy to start bar hopping. So I think they were going to go to some fucking cowboy bar or something, and then they got talked into going to Lucky, and then they left at Lucky's probably 20 minutes before the rest of us kind of eventually left. So I think a lot of us were just trying to camp out at Remedies until we got closed. Because Remedies closed at 10, I believe. So I don't know, around 9:30 or so, I think we all ended up all was in like the 80% of us, 90% of us that were still there took the fucking journey from Remedies to Lucky, which I feel like
it's 4 minutes. It's 4.
Bryce definitely took us.
It was like
It was
5
a
minutes,
15-minute walk.
No, it's
Because
4 minutes.
There were people. I'm just telling you, there were people that like cut off from our party and were already there on like finishing up their first beer by the time Bryce's drunk ass got us there. Because Bryce and Tommy were leading the way, I believe, and we went. Maybe it was the most direct route, but it was not a 4-minute walk. It was it was a 15-minute walk.
For reference, Keith, from my window, I can see Lucky.
Yeah.
Out of the hotel and Remedies.
Even once you cross the water, it was still at least 10 minutes from the water because it was like stoplight, stoplight, stoplight.
Okay, so he took you.
Yeah.
There's a footbridge behind.
We did
our
the
hotel,
footbridge, and even with that, it was still because Jen and I came back to the driving bridge because that's the way the GPS wanted it.
Yeah,
but we took the footbridge, but I don't know. We went down. It just seemed like it was a very long trip.
So me and Brad found Lucky's the next morning, and it's like literally like from our hotel room, you can see the Lucky's sign down the back alley.
But I don't. Did you guys? So I was at Lucky's until 11, give or take, and there was probably still 20 of us. I think maybe 30 of us 25 of us probably started there. And when I left, I don't know. I was definitely one of we hadn't had a whole lot of people peel off from that initial group that went over, I don't think. Except the whole Minnesota Department of Lifter Safety, they disappeared, but I didn't see them at Lucky's to begin with. I think they were playing pool and then they were already at another bar before we were even done with our first beer because that's just what the kids do, I guess. Because I don't think I talked to them at all at Lucky's. And yeah, I don't know. I know I saw Kurt. Kurt was nice and hydrated.
Absolutely.
Toasted.
Absolutely. After a strenuous workout like that, you got to replace those fluids.
Yeah.
I just did what I had to do.
And I talked to Brad a lot, talked to Toby a lot, talked to Tanner and Tommy and Ryan DeFay. I talked to a good bit of people. We do got to give our good friend Big Paul some shit. Paul did not make it out to any of the Saturday night events. I heard he had some family in town, and had to prioritize that. But as always, there was definitely some shit talking in your direction, Paul. Just some good ball busting that you didn't make it out. So just be aware of that. But it was all from love.
He had the funniest line of the weekend to me.
What was that?
When I forget who was going to the blob. And everybody, I like that we all started kind of chirping each other. Like, you can't lift that. Like, what's wrong with you? And I think he said, why don't you try somebody else's best? And I cannot.
Hysterical.
Yeah, I can't wait to use that in real life.
Try your best. I did. Try something else's. That's fucking like because you almost have to like stop and think about it for a few seconds to be like, what did that mean? Oh, you're a dick.
It's diabolical.
That's really good.
Yeah, your best isn't witty. Cutting it. Try somebody else's best. That's
a really witty chirp. I like.
Yeah,
that
it's very good. So I think he did have my favorite line of the entire weekend, as much as there was several of them.
You got somebody while they were doing the hang, and now I can't remember.
Oh, I did. I made somebody laugh that they fell.
You got them to immediately drop as soon as you said it.
And I don't even remember what it was. I don't remember what it was. I remember it happening, but I don't remember what I said.
The hang made for some good pictures. I obviously took like at least a dozen pictures with the Keith head as like that's just what I have to do now. That's just the bit. But I got the one with you in the background, and it looks like it was done with the fucking app.
It was art,
and it was perfect.
Yeah.
I was so happy when I saw it, and then I got a couple of Tanner just making the most like phallic faces that made a couple good memes.
Well, actually it might have been Tanner because like he was staring off into somebody's soul. Like when he was up there, like he was Undertaker levels of evil. Like he was just like.
And he had to have the most awkward kind of stance because he didn't want to land on it. He wanted to be able to like fall basically on his legs or on his feet, not his fucking rebuilt, ACLs.
Yep. God damn it! Now, Kirk brings up a good point. What was it that I said? I made somebody laugh that they fell, and I don't remember what it was.
see something, or I'm sorry, I can't think of it, but yeah, it like immediately got everybody to start laughing, and that was
Hopefully
like,
it's on camera somewhere because I knew
yeah.
there was one line I said that just like the everybody went silent. I said something and then that person dropped and I was like, "Oh no, I ruined their chances." But at the same time, it was very funny.
Yeah.
Just not funny enough for me to remember apparently.
We'll figure we can get Brad and Tron's take on Lucky's and just the whole Saturday night and how late. I'm curious how late you guys stayed because like I said I tapped out at 11. Me and Jen walked back to the hotel and called it a night. When did you? Based off Discord, everyone else was gone within the next hour and a half. I think because there was people saying they were home by like 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I didn't. I don't think I missed too much.
Yeah, I think Tanner went to bail around. I don't know, it was probably around quarter to 12 or so.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought he would get a. I thought he would join me and Jen because he was hurting. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
him walking to Lucky's. My God, I had never. Like he had a little bit, he had a slight limp the whole weekend,
yep.
but and when we left Remedies, so call it like 9:30 on Saturday after being on his feet for 48 yeah, basically 48 hours, he was dragging his fucking bad leg. Like it was a bad walk. I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah, so yeah, when he said he was heading out, I took that as my sign that that was probably wise because I'm pretty sure I was passed out asleep by quarter after 12 probably.
Nice.
So, but and I think that's when a lot of the people left. I think Lou walked back with us, and I think a lot of people left just before midnight or so. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was hurting. I was ready to go pass out.
Oh,
It was a long 2 days.
Trond went to work.
Yeah. I was unpaid bouncer for a little bit there.
I saw you checking.
So
I saw something about you checking IDs. I want to hear
yeah,
about
I got two stories from Lucky's. Okay, the
that. Yep.
first one was when people were still there, and I was up at the bar, and me and Bryce were getting a drink. We were going to get a drink and then go out to the patio. Me, Bryce, and Matt, we're going to smoke a cigar. And there was a couple of ladies at the bar, and she starts talking to me. She goes, "Hey, is there like a convention in town or something?" And I go, "What do you mean convention?" She's like, "Is there like a men's beautiful hair convention or something? Because I have never seen so many men with just luxurious, lovely hair in one place in my life." And me and Bryce kind of looked around. And we were like, "Well, yeah, we
There's
kind
like
of,
seven of us. There was like seven of you
yeah."
guys that had long flowing
Well,
hair that night.
yeah, I mean, you had like Tommy and Tanner and Bryce and me, and then you had the
Lou.
Minnesota, safety lifting crew.
Yeah, two or
There's a
three
few
of
of
those
those
had long
guys
hair.
had some flow. You had Lou. You had, so yeah, there was a lot of large guys with very large hair, and the girls noticed and were very intrigued as to what the heck we were. And so me and Bryce told them, we're in a hair club for men. So, um,
You probably said it
then
without missing a
we
beat too.
yeah, and then we went out to the back patio there, and this by that time we were probably out there. It was probably right when everybody else started heading out and leaving, and so we were out back. We had lit up our cigars. We were just standing there smoking, and our cigars started burning out a little bit, and my lighter ran out of fluid, and so I was checking my pockets looking for another lighter. And all of a sudden, a couple came up to me and just showed me their ID. And I looked up and I almost said, "Oh, I don't work here." But then I had an idea and I looked at the ID and I go, "What's your birthday?" "All right. And you? And what's your middle name?" "All right, great. Hey, either have a lighter?" "No." "Okay, go ahead, go in." Then a line formed up. And so I just started checking IDs,
Well, there's a fucking
checking
bouncer right inside too.
for
So that's the best part is they all got
lighter.
double dipped.
And by about the fifth person, the girls had a lighter in her purse. She gave me the lighter. We lit up our cigars again. I gave her a lighter, or standing behind her, I said, "You guys are all good. Just go in." Um, and the great thing was the bouncer was sitting on a stool in front of a full length glass door and watched all of this happen and then rechecked every single one of them.
That makes me
And
sad.
he didn't say anything to us. But I mean, obviously, when I'm standing in between, Big Matt and Big Bryce,
Yeah,
who
that's
who
fucking 600. That's 700 pounds of fucking
yeah,
man
that's
carry.
700 pounds of guys. So you got two and a half giant men, and of course they immediately just went to me to start checking IDs. So But yeah, then we finished our cigars. The bouncer did poke his head out and said, "Hey guys, it's going to be last call here, so if you want to drink, better get in there." And at that point, I went in, used the bathroom, and then and then Bryce was still there when I left. I think that was a point of pride for him. He couldn't walk out the door.
Yeah, Bryce likes to close a place down. That's for sure. I think he's got he's probably got definitely top three, if not the record of, Crü shutting down bars between Lift Hard and Crü Falls.
Well, then,
yeah.
So then I wake up at 1 a.m. because obviously I went to bed at like fucking 9.
There was a lot of pictures and chats by then. But
I know, and I was just like,
had
well,
100 messages.
I was like, well, if they're still out, maybe I'll. And then no, I'm not going to do that. I watched a movie. Yeah, and then Sunday morning, most of you guys had left, and we went to go to the Blarney, Brad and I, because I think we thought we were the last ones left, and Blarney didn't open till 10. Here I am thinking I'm going to go and get a nice Irish breakfast, which consists of sausage, eggs, beans, haggis, whatever they had. And they're closed. So we ended up at Josiah. And
that's good though.
This is going to be like a little bit of a praise for Sioux Falls versus Aberdeen customer service. That place was dope. Absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting avocado toast and eggs and had a really good healthy breakfast. We went and saw the falls.
Mm-hmm.
Big spicy pizzas. Yeah, they met us there.
Who was it that took the picture from the other? Was that Ryan that took a picture from the other side of the falls or something? Somebody posted a picture, zoomed in on like 2 or 3 of you guys.
Oh yeah, side. where like I look like I'm wearing a turban because it's like he's taking a picture from a potato. Like,
well, I fucking like 300 yards.
I think that was that had to have been
Gary.
Big Gary.
Yeah.
Gary.
I think it was Gary.
Yeah.
He is definitely Gary. I will never call him anything other than that. Sorry, bud.
He told me where that comes from. You guys want to hear that?
Yeah, I remember. I heard it. Yeah, he was waiting in line. Yeah, you can tell. But
somebody actually just asked him if his name was Gary.
It's because he was waiting in line at a restaurant, and it was like I think they had a Gary and like a party for Gary, and like he was just the next person up, and they were like, "Are you Gary?" And his daughter just got really like,
like
what
indignant.
the fuck does that even mean? So then like now. But then he named himself Gary at the Discord. I don't know if he did that because there was already other Brads, or he was just like, Gary works, but he's Gary. And he's Gary on all his social media too. So it's like,
you're Gary from now on for everybody.
I'm not gonna see you be named Gary on 3 different social media platforms and then call you fucking Brad. Like that's not a thing. Sorry, bud. Yeah. So travel home. It's that Sunday. I had the hotel had actually they didn't run a shuttle that early for me. I needed I wanted a 6:30 pickup, and for some reason they scheduled me a 6 pickup, which really sucked because that ate into my morning. But I didn't want to have them reschedule it because I figured they'd fuck it up because they actually like scheduled a Lyft app, like an actual Lyft driver to come pick me up and just paid for it themselves, which was great.
That's just what they do. That's what they did for me and Brad.
Oh, okay. Then they must have closed the shuttle down then because I definitely did a shuttle last year, so that makes sense. I mean, it's got to be cheaper to not. I think Trond and I were actually talking about that. It's got to be cheaper to just pay a few $100s in Lyft than like have someone on call and like keep a bus up and running and pay taxes and fees and all that shit on it and insurance. Got to the airport. I got super lucky on my flights home. The first flight, it was a 3-seater on one side, and it wasn't up. No one had no one had bought the middle seat, so I actually had a little bit of leg room and like shoulder room. And then on my second flight, I was sitting next to a young lady, and she kept sniffling like she was fucking sick, and I was just like, it was annoying because it was kind of like Dave Tate fucking sniffle, and then I'm like, are you annoying or are you sick? Either way, it is fucking annoying, but I don't want to get sick. And then like right before we took off, the flight attendant was like, sir, are you a couple? And I was like, no, we're not traveling together. And he's like, would you like to take the exit row? And there was like, so I got the exit row, and there was no one beside me. It was fucking awesome. So I had great flight. I got great flights on the way home. And I think I was at my house by like 1:30, 2 o'clock. It was fucking awesome. So I enjoyed getting home.
Where was your connection out of?
I flew into and out of Chicago. O'Hare. Was it O'Hare?
Mm-hmm.
O'Hare.
Okay.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, and I'm like a master at O'Hare now. It's fucking, and I always just bank on it being a 20-minute walk no matter what. If I have to go fucking under the airport or not, because from Rochester to O'Hare, I had to go to the other terminal underneath the whole fucking runway. And on the way back, I didn't have to go under the runway, but couldn't have been any farther. I was like all the way at one end and then all the way at the other end. So it was still a 20-minute walk. It just wasn't under the runway. And I had like 17 or no, I got to my because I had a really short layover on my flight home. I was kind of worried about that, but I think I got there, and within like 5 minutes they were boarding. So I was very lucky not to miss anything that day.
We actually, when we landed in O'Hare, and I have a little more to tell, but big ups to Brad, because I was like, I got an hour, man. Let's grab something to eat. And he's like, nah, let's go find your gate first. And then we started walking. We found a McDonald's. I haven't eaten all day. And I was like, let's get a McDonald's and walk to my gate. And we get to my gate, and it says loading to Toronto in 14 minutes. And I was like, can I get on that flight? So I go up to the gate attendant, and I'm like, I'm on the next flight. Can I get on this one? And she's like, no, this one's to Toronto. And I'm like, no, I know. But like, if I get to Toronto faster, I'll take it. And I show her my boarding pass, and she just swipes my phone. She goes, you fucking dummy, you're on this flight.
What did you do? Did you like screenshot your boarding pass from like 3 days ago?
No, Apple Wallet. I just added to Apple Wallet.
Yeah, but
because of all the time changes screwed with me. Right. So
Yeah,
she's like, no, you're boarding in like 9 minutes. And I was just like, oh. So yeah, if it wasn't for Brad and talking me out of sitting down and having something to eat, I definitely would have missed that flight for sure.
Don't call him the pad for nothing. He saves the day.
He did save my day.
O'Hare is familiar territory for me.
I could tell. I
literally was sitting at the gate after you left, the same place I was 2 weeks ago when we returned from Jamaica. I sat in the same chair at the same gate.
Kurt, how was your trip home?
Keith, I wish I had an experience like yours, or I wish I had that quick of a turnaround. Sunday morning was really rough. So I think I left.
You were with Matthias with the the 4:30 departure bullshit, weren't you?
Yeah. My flight was at 5. So when I left Lucky's, I want to say at like 11, around there on Saturday night. There was definitely some booze, for leaving as early as I did. I'm like, fellas, my flight's in like 6 hours. Like, I got to try to at least get some.
That'll happen no matter what, man. If you're one of the first to leave, I could have stayed there till fucking 1 minute before everybody else left, and I still would have got shit. So that's just expect that and don't take it personally. I still do a little bit, but we're gonna bust your balls no matter what.
Uber wasn't an option for me.
I heard that.
I tried to schedule an Uber the day before, and the app is basically like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, no, we're not coming to get you that early. And so my alarm went off at 3, and the Sioux Falls taxi service came and got me at 3:15, but they were actually early. They showed up at 3:08. So I was still absolutely getting the cobwebs out and trying to get my wherewithal. And I get that call. Yeah, we're outside. Yeah, I just had to grab everything and hope that I had everything packed from last night, which fortunately I did. And then I was at Sioux Falls by probably like 4:15 or so, which was more than enough time to get through security and then still catch the flight.
It'll take an hour to get to the airport.
What did I say? 4:15. I'm sorry. Wrong time. I was there in like 20 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, but the airport didn't open until 4 though. So how did you actually were you able to get in? Because I know that was a big thing that was a big issue with Matthias, because his goal was to just stay up all night and go to the airport. And I'm like, dude, like they close. Like this is like a 1 terminal, like fucking like 3. Like there's not a lot of like they're for sure gonna close at like midnight, and not open up till like 4 or 5. And he's like, no. And I was like, you might want to call him. So he called him at Remedies, and he's like, fuck, you're right.
Yeah, they're not international. They're not open 24/7.
I was definitely there before 4 and had no problem.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we're gonna schedule you that early, right? And then I got to O'Hare. How long's that flight? I slept the whole time, so I couldn't tell you how long it was.
Both my flights were under an hour and a half.
It's an hour, yeah.
Yeah.
Hour 10 minutes, I think that one is.
And then I had a 4.5 hour layover before I flew back to Philly after that.
Yeah. That is the downside of like I think you had said like you got pretty cheap flights, but with the cheap flights usually come shitty layovers and really early departures. That's why I rather I paid a little bit more, or probably a lot more, but very, very quick layovers and very like reasonable departures.
No regrets on my part though. Absolutely.
It's awesome, man. I was glad to have you.
Yeah.
The 3 of us, we went to the breakfast, and I said, Trond, do you mind showing me the falls? Like, would you take me over there? So we spent probably me, Spicy Pizza, Daniel,
Big Daniel,
Big Gary, and Prad and Trond all just stood at the falls for probably an hour and a half just talking. Just straight up just talking. And like we got like personal, we won't get into it here, we got political, we got like it was really good connecting with you guys. I do appreciate that. Like that's a level that we don't usually get into in the Discord crew, but like we got into that personal level, and that was pretty amazing. And then me and Brad still had like 2 hours. We sat in my room. I had to drink those beers. I had 2 beers sitting in the fridge, and I was like, "Shit, I gotta drink these." And they went down, but then it was like,
when did you buy beer? Like we were at a
at
restaurant
Remedy
or a bar. You bought beers to take home.
Well, no, I bought because when I left Remedy, I was not done. I was just done with being social until I got back to the
you
room.
bought a couple cans to take back to the hotel? Okay.
Because I was like, I'm gonna just do some time alone and talk to my wife and talk about the kids and everything like that. And then I just ended up not. So yeah, I had to drink those beers and yeah, and that's the rest of the day went pretty good. I upgraded to first class. So remember when we were sitting at Blarney's, I get this thing going like, do you want to upgrade to first class for $40? And I was like, is that a good deal? And everybody at the table was like,
yeah,
yes,
I do a first class
take
$40 fucking every single time.
So I go to the attendant and I'm like, is that still on the table? And she's like, actually it is. Or he was. And he's like, yeah, actually it is. So he takes my credit card and he upgrades me. I'll never do that again. That was a waste of my time and money. That was not worth it at all. They wouldn't even let me pee.
Wow.
And that's the thing. I know I posted the story saying like how stupid that was, but like I was the second person on the plane. And I'm like, oh, can I just use the bathroom? And he's like, well, you have to wait.
Block people. I think that's why, because like you would be blocking everyone getting on.
No, I was literally, I'm 2 seats from the bathroom. And I'm like, can I just use the bathroom? You have to wait till we're in the air. And then I was like, waste of money. Like if I was at the back of the plane, I could use the bathroom. Just saying. Like, so I don't think I would do that again. And then, yeah, just landed and went home. So that's my trip home. Trond, you obviously just drove home.
Yep. Yeah, I just drove home, had to make some returns at local stores and that kind of stuff, all that fun jazz. My wife sent me with, a bag of stuff to return and so yeah, I had to run a couple errands and then then it was just drive home against good South Dakota breeze. So,
all right.
The wind the whole way home.
Normally, this is the time where we would ask the guests to ask us questions, but I think what I'm going to do instead is give us I would like everybody to take 30 seconds to just kind of personally reflect on how much fun they had, thank anybody they want to thank, or anything like that, because I think we are winding down right now. I know I have my people in mind, but if you guys all want to take 30 seconds to just throw it out there, talk about just whatever you want to say, like your personal feelings, take 30 seconds. Brad, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I think most people know that Allison sent me out there kind of to save my soul. It's been a tough year, so getting to hang out with the boys and the crew and my friends that lift was just a lot of fun. I appreciated the enthusiasm for the Brad the Pad stickers. I'm glad everybody enjoyed those. It's fun becoming part of the lore of the crew. And yeah, I just had a great time. It's so fun talking to nobody's a stranger. Some of us we may not know well. Like I didn't know Big Kurt until Friday. And
nobody did, bud.
Yep. Yep. And now I know him really, really well. And I hope he felt welcomed. And it was just a great time. And I just appreciate all of you guys. So
Kurt, do you want to go next?
Absolutely. So admittedly, I was nervous as hell when I got there on Friday. And, my friends around here, family around here, they're like, you don't know anyone and you're going out there. I was just like, yeah, but I think it's going to be okay. But nevertheless, you get in a social situation with 40 guys and 2 girls who you've never met. It's going to be a little nerve wracking. There was absolutely no reason to be nervous. Everybody was so welcoming, and nobody was standoffish, nobody was rude. Nobody, kept to themselves. Everybody was really, really welcoming. It was such a great decision to come out. And I can actually kind of like summarize it down here as to why it was such a good decision, or how good of a decision it was. I was on the fence, you guys know, about coming out for the Lift Hard, Live Easy in July. But I emailed Dave today and he said, you're in luck. 2 spots just opened up and I grabbed one of them. So
nice.
I'll be there for Live Hard, Live Easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It just shows how many
buddy.
people dropped from
Yeah,
that. So
buddy.
yeah, if you're listening to this and you're still on the fence about Lift Hard, there's a 50% chance you can get a spot and know about it within the next couple months because 90 fucking lifters, there's going to be a couple people drop off every month pretty much going into the meet from here on out, I'd say. So get on the list even if you're thinking about it. It's the worst case you got to do is, oh, sorry, Dave, I can't make it after all. Whenever he texts you and says, hey, can you make it? So definitely do that. So I'm glad to hear that, Kurt. It'll be good to see you again.
Keith, you want to do your 30 seconds there?
Yeah, similar to Brad. I wouldn't have been there without my wife. I wasn't probably going to go this year just because, funds are a little bit tighter this year around the Honeycutt house than they were last year. And she was just like, she literally said, is the only reason you're not going money? And I was like, well, yeah. And she's like, just fucking go then. She's like, just do it. Like, stop being a pussy and just go. So, she motivated me for that. We did that. Paul and Jen for the rides all weekend. Mo hooked me up with a little crew gift of some lifting straps and a very nice personalized note that was very meaningful. And just Tommy for opening up in his house like that. I as someone who opens my house to, maybe not that many people, but, damn near sometimes, it's a chore. Tommy's house is massive and fucking, it is exponentially larger than mine. So he had the room and, had the ability to have a spare bathroom right there without having people actually go into like his like personal space. So that was clutch. But just all in all, it was great to see everybody. And, we'll see everybody here in July.
As I've mentioned before, this was actually crowdfunded. I wasn't going to come. I turned 40 in 6 days, and my wife said, I really want to send you somewhere. And she wanted me to go see the Northern Lights. And I said, well, you know what? For my 40th birthday, get a notch on my Hall of Fame card. What if you could send me to the Lift Hard, Live Easy? And she said, well, I don't have enough for that. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Send me to Crü Falls. And she said, I don't have enough for that. And I said, well, all of the people in my life would love to give me a present for my birthday. Why don't you ask them for help? So she started to GoFundMe, and actually this is like the closest to a sponsored athlete I'll ever feel. You guys all raised money. Somebody gave $6.09, and then from there, everybody just started giving $69. And it got way past it. Somebody gave 200, somebody gave 69, 69, 69, 69, 69, and I got here. So big out to my wife, like honestly, like that was the coolest thing. I turned 40 in a few days, and this being probably my last trip to South Dakota was definitely worth it. I do want to thank Big Jen as well. I walked into Tommy's and she immediately had a birthday present for me, and she got me some socks from my favorite wrestler that, it's a bit emotional because I have a lot of Fiend stuff. I have tattoos of Bray Wyatt, and Jen found the wherewithal to go and source out these things I couldn't find anymore. And my other pair of socks have a hole in them that I can't repair. So I'm hanging on to them, but I can't wear them. And she replaced those for me. And I cannot thank Big Jen enough. I want to thank Big Hannah, Big Grayson, Trond. Honestly, man, like you made the weekend incredible, leading me around Sioux Falls, keeping me up to date on pretty much everything. Like huge that Brad hanging out with me on Sunday, Kurt coming out early, and just all the people that just like accepted me and made me feel comfortable and welcome. I don't think I can ever repay that, and that's why we do what we do. Trond?
No, we lost him.
Did you freeze right when I called you up? Nope.
Dang it. I'm okay. Am I back now?
Yep.
Sure.
All right. So, I came out because I wanted to get rid of a bunch of bells of steel stringers that I don't need. No, last year my first Massonomics event was Crü Falls. So I was in the same boat as Big Kurt was. I didn't really know how to feel about it. Should I go and hang out with a bunch of guys I've never met before, anything like that? And again, one of the best decisions I ever made was just driving over there, getting a hotel room and hanging out. And like I said, was just like running into a bunch of friends, old friends that you never knew you had. And that's how all the crew feels like. You come walking into the room and you got, 4 or 5 people saying hi, saying hey, and you start putting faces to names and figuring out who's who in the Discord. And then it's just instantly you are, slapping each other on the back and you're lifting stupid heavy stuff or dropping stuff on your head and having a great time. And so, yeah, anybody that is ever, thinking, is it worth it? It's worth it. It's worth coming out to once. It's worth getting to hang out with all these guys face to face at least one time. And so, yeah, I'm just amazed at how far a lot of you guys all come. I mean, for me, it's a 2 hour drive. Like I'm not sacrificing nearly as much time or effort as a lot of people that make it, and that just kind of goes to show how important it is to people and how impactful it can be. So, yeah, I'll as long as I'm able to drive 2 hours, I'll always be here for December to remember. Yeah, I hope to see a bunch of more new people next year. So,
and of course, Tanner, Tommy, thank you for bringing us all together. You guys built this brand, built this Crü Falls, built the Let's Hard Live Easy. It's now the envy of the lifting world. There's people that aren't even in Crü that are like jealous and they want to come and they want to see what we're about and see what we are. And that's huge. That's
definitely picking up steam.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty incredible. If there's nothing else, Keith, you got a checklist there?
Yeah, let's do it. I want to do unpaid or you don't want to do unpaid or unrated?
Yeah, let's do it. We got a few minutes.
Yeah, no. So I want to do at least let's just at least the 4 that I just assigned to people. So
yeah, just pick somebody and ask them.
No, I've literally it's on the spreadsheet. So I've already.
What's a spreadsheet?
Yeah, fucking Google Docs. I misspoke. So
what's a Google Docs?
Unpaid or underrated. Big Kurt, you're not familiar with this yet, so we're gonna let Big Brad kick it off here. I got one specifically for him. So Big Brad, unpaid or underrated cheese curds.
Cheese curds are underrated. Cheese curds are delicious.
Hell yeah.
I hadn't had cheese in 6 months, man. Those cheese curds were delicious. I had cheese curds at Remedy too. They had Nashville hot cheese curds.
Ooh.
Those were also exquisite.
Were they deep fried or just?
Yeah, they were fried.
Yeah, deep fried. Yeah. Oh, deep fried cheese curds are top tier, man.
Yeah, yep. But then the ones at Trond, man, those the Bloody Mary cheese curds. Woo! Yeah, buddy. Yep, cheese curds underrated always.
Love it. All right, Big Trond, unpaid or underrated? The service at Monk's.
Well, they did get paid, but they were definitely unpaid. There was like maybe 10 other people that weren't crew in the bar that night, and like Joey pointed out, there was like 4 or 5 servers and like another bartender. And like, I ordered a second Guinness and I waited like 10, 15 minutes and she just never came back. She took Keith's card and never brought it back.
I fucking had a panic attack looking for my credit card for 10 minutes before she brought it back.
So yeah, definitely unpaid.
I mean, the beer was good. The food was okay.
Oh yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, but definitely it was one of those, I think when we all walked in, she was like, oh no. And that was the only place that happened all weekend. Everybody else was like, no, bring us all of this business, please. And I think she was a bit overwhelmed. And, I had some sympathy for her. So that's why I've started helping her. It's just wild. But like, yeah, I see it.
All right.
Keith.
Joy.
No. Okay. You're next. You're next, big guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit 2 of you with this one. Unpaid or underrated? Tiger meat.
I'm going to have to go unpaid. It didn't taste bad. I had Trond's. It basically tasted like a raw steak with a bunch of McCormick's, flavoring to it. It was a little chewy, obviously. I could see, I haven't had a club cracker in forever. It was just, we buy like Ritz crackers for soup every now and then. So the club cracker was
fancy
clutch.
Ritz, yeah.
But, not Ritz. The square ones with, the
saltines.
Yeah, saltines are the only cracker. I think I've only had a saltine cracker for the last several years. But nonetheless, I don't know if it was the tiger meat or the chicken, but something wasn't sitting well with me that next morning. And what came out of me looked like the tiger meat in the picture from Nate's fucking recap Thanksgiving video, and sitting on the top of the John. I was like, that ain't right. And it was like it was right before we lifted too. So thank God I didn't carry over to the gym. But tasted okay-ish. I don't know if that's what tore through my stomach the next day or not. But for the unknown mystery of what did that to me, I have to go unpaid.
I actually really liked it. Yeah, it didn't do anything worse to me than everything else does. Hey, Kurt, unpaid or underrated? Lucky's.
Unpaid. Yeah, if I'm being totally honest, I didn't want to leave Remedies when we did. I was enjoying the conversation. I was enjoying the the menu. Let's say I had the TV that had the Penn State and Oregon game on. But like you guys just said, I think the crowd that was there at that point made it clear that like they wanted to kind of try out some other kinds of establishments. And it was more about doing what everybody else wanted to do and just being part of the gang. And I am going to go unpaid though. I wasn't really feeling Lucky's too much.
Agreed.
Hey, Keith.
Yeah, buddy.
Unpaid or underrated? The chicken parm at Remedies.
The chicken parm sandwich, I think I gave it a lot higher rating on Jen's video, and because it was like after that first bite, and the first bite was misleading. It was pretty decent for the first bite, but as it got into it, I don't know, it was not good. I definitely would give it an unpaid rating, especially after seeing the kitchen a little bit later, when I was kind of in the back of the bar. I could just see it was just like, because you could just see they were just pouring chips out of a fucking Walmart bag, and like the queso was just microwave trash, and it was really not great food. And then I was really kind of annoyed too, because if they described it as like a Philly cheesesteak-ish adjacent, I would have ordered it. But there was some like pulled beef or something or other.
Yeah.
That and like 7 people ordered that, and it looked just like a fucking chopped up Philly cheesesteak. And I was like, God damn it, I would have fucking eaten the hell out of that. But very unpaid. But like I said, I think I definitely was giving it a different rating after the first bite, but it didn't, I don't know, it wasn't great.
You and your chicken parm.
Yeah, all but right. The bit was every fucking buddy there asked me if I knew there was a chicken parm sandwich on the menu.
Yeah.
And then I think the room got, and then then everyone started doing it sarcastically, and I was just like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you can avoid that.
All right, I'll hit you with one. Unpaid or underrated? The pepperettes at Tommy's. And who brought those?
So Jen brought those.
Jen brought a variety, because I had a couple different ones.
Yeah, I had the one, the spicy-ish one. I didn't have the cheese one. I'll never eat pepperettes with cheese in them. That's ridiculous. But then I ended up buying some pepperettes at the airport that are like game meats. So they had like pheasant and antelope and all that. Those are amazing. My kids even like those. It's really funny that my kids, if I just hand them meat and go, this has rabbit, they're like, rabbit. Like, it's really funny. But the ones at Tommy's, no, those are unpaid. Putting blue cheese or cheese curds or whatever it was in them in pepperettes, no, hard pass every time.
All right. I will do the last two and just kind of shoot them off. So Brad and Trond, you're both going to get one. Keep it under a minute, just so we can wrap this up. So unpaid or underrated Trond, the exclusive Crü Falls sticker.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that until I found it, and I was like, shit, there it is.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I found it in my in my fanny pack, and I was like, what is this? Because I was like emptying out stickers at the end of the night. And at the end of that night, I wasn't seeing too straight. So it took until somebody posted in the Discord what it was, and then I was like, now I can see it. I can light it up.
It's more of like a clear sticker with the logo, because like the sticker that Tanner handed you can't really tell what it is. But then when Jake put it on his lap pull down or whatever, it was like, and it makes more sense.
Yep. So it's a clear decal to put on stuff. So definitely underrated.
Perfect. All right, Brad, and to finish us out here, unpaid or underrated? I hope you saw this when we were walking to Lucky's. Cars with Christmas lights all over them. If you didn't see it, I don't know if anybody else. I'll answer it if you didn't.
I don't think I. I did see him. I think.
Yeah. Doesn't that? I have an opinion about it. I'm curious to see or hear anybody else's.
I mean, it's probably unpaid, but I can appreciate the effort and their enthusiasm for the season.
Yeah, I think maybe if it was just a random family car just driving around, but it was like I don't. Is Sioux Falls have this underground race scene where everyone thinks they're in fucking Fast and the Furious? Because during the walk, there were like 7 cars that anytime there was a fucking a red light turning green, the assholes were just peeling out. And I was like, it's a very heavily populated area with a bunch of drunk people fucking jaywalking. You're gonna fucking hit someone. And then like right after that, I was already kind of annoyed at the drivers. And then I see like 2 or 3 cars in a row just fucking all blinged out with Christmas lights all over them. And I'm like, I've never fucking seen that, and that might be one of the weirder things I've seen in my life. So I would say unpaid, but maybe if I hadn't seen it after a bunch of douchebags drag racing, I might have been underrated, but I don't know. But yeah, that is the Crü Falls recap episode. I'm gonna hit you with some affiliate links. So anyone listening to this, go use our friends' codes there, unpaid at Obsidian, Barbell Rescue, Plate Snacks, Home Gym Con, Belt Fed Strength, and apparel from the Strength Co. And let's see, we're gonna give everybody a chance to just say where if you want anyone to follow you on Instagram, this is your chance now. So we're gonna go around the room. Big Tron, where can they find you out on Instagram or Discord so they know who they're talking to?
I'm just Big Tron on Discord, and I don't even remember off the top of my head what my Instagram handle is. So
he does not check
Instagram. If you
Instagram.
type in Trond and your crew, he'll be one of the only ones that pop up, but he probably won't follow you back for 6 months.
Yep.
Big Kurt, where you at, buddy?
So I'm Big Kurt on the Discord and Instagram. It's KDubs_82.
Are you private?
I might be.
Yeah, you're private on Instagram.
Yeah, you might want to undo that for the crew's sake.
Okay.
Or go out of your way to send out friend requests and maybe even send it with a message of, "Hey, I'm Big Kurt from the crew," because a lot of us don't accept follows or return follows for private pages. That's just me personally. I definitely don't.
Okay.
Because without a DM to go along with it, like it's like I don't know who the fuck you are, but sorry. Big Brad, where are they gonna find you at, pal? Other than
I am
Bells of Steel.
Other than near a Bells of Steel crash pad, I am biggest Brad on the Discord, and I am just Brad_Dieters on the Instagram. But the only things I post are just to keep Keith happy. So every now and again I throw out some fun stuff.
You've put so much more effort in your Instagram in this last year or so since we had you on. I'm very proud of that, pal.
Well, the crew wants to know what I'm up to, so I figure I give them a little bit of insight into what else I got going on.
He's also like jacked now. Like he was a big dude, and now he's cut and definitely more of those.
Definitely reminded me I need to not stop skipping bicep curl day when we were in the posing room.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if my crippling body dysmorphia is better or actually worse. I'm not sure which one it is.
He reminded me not to skip vein day. Like my man is vascular.
I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it that you guys gave me some self-confidence, and I appreciate that.
Well, that's what the crew's here for. We have to, we definitely kick, we beat you down as much as we can, and then it's, build you back up just as much.
we relive trauma. I've said that before. We relive trauma here on Unpaid and Underrated, but then,
Well, I mean, the crew as a whole, there's a lot of ball busters, but at the end of the day, 95% of them probably have good intentions.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Big Joey, where you at, buddy?
Same. Joey_MLE, CZKO. Matthias, thank you so much for memorizing that. That's that saved my entire weekend, to be honest with you. So,
all right, I'm Big Keith. Keith Honey Get 73 on Instagram. Go follow my Orange Gym, then a wine cellar. We have an Instagram, Unpaid and Underrated Podcast. The website, unpaidinternpodcast.com. Go follow us on YouTube, and we'll see you next Tuesday.